Sorry, it does that now.
Yeah.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Really good, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I've got lists of questions.
Oh, yay! Amazing.
Sorry.
I'm off. See you later.
That's great. Oh, well, Deborah, we don't have to do any of what we were saying we're going to do. We'll just go now and joke.
That's great. We jump in. Yeah, no bother at all. Yeah.
So, well, Nicola, have you enjoyed this month's masterclass so far?
I have. It's a lot now. Oh, there's a lot wrong with me.
There is
That's what
nothing
I've
wrong with
established.
you.
And this, I've got some new cards. You'll like them. Post some new oracle cards. There's chakra wisdom cards.
I've got that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but every card I pull out is the same one: forgiveness.
Right.
I've just obviously got a real issue with just being a bit kinder to myself.
But this has come up before, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because when I've said we've done exercises where I've said as well, about forgiving other people, and you've really got stuck on that bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
but isn't it really lovely that you've brought that out time and time again? So regardless of the fact that that's what keeps coming out and you feel like that's the thing that needs to be fixed, it's like, isn't it amazing that your energy, your body is bringing that card to you every time? Like, so there's nothing really wrong. You're actually connecting in with it.
Yeah, it is. It's just sometimes you want to see something else. So I've decided I'm going to, so from this masterclass, what I've took from it, sorry, excuse me, my dogs may interfere, is the importance of forgiving myself instead of trying to forgive other people, and forgive myself for how I feel about it. So that's what I've been trying to work on.
But that's a great first step, because in terms of the collective consciousness, if you forgive yourself, that we're all one, you're forgiving other people as well. So, but if that's the easiest step for you to do, then that's amazing.
Yeah, and just accepting that this is who I am. I didn't think I was judgmental, but I actually quite am. And that's just who I am.
Can I ask you, you've been doing the course so far, have you? Have you finished it, or are you part the way through?
Oh, no, still journaling. It's a lot. It's a lot to do. I'm not very good with the journaling. That's the thing. So when I don't know which one it was, and you said, just write every little thing down. You'll be surprised how much you feel. And I work in academia, so it's like really, really hectic time of year. So I've literally been carrying this silver book around to work with me, writing down as it's going along. And it's also that aspect that when you actually get to the end of the day and have a little bit of a read through it, oh my God, I do a lot in a day. But I don't think I did very much, really. But the emotional journey I go on in a day, that's been a bit of a surprise.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow, I'm loving this.
But I've struggled with the journaling, but I think what I've realised is because I leave it till the end of the day. So what sometimes I take it.
Sometimes it's about finding the right time. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing as well, Nick, with the journaling, like, it's not everybody's main mode of communication. But really what it is, it's taking something from just floating about in your head, putting it down on paper. It actually helps to alleviate the mind as well. It gives the mind a little bit of a break when we're writing it down. And also,
I noticed that, but yeah, I can see that.
And when you get further into the course, and I think it could be even the last video, part of this process is there's resistance, and when there's resistance, it's usually the ego has absolutely no intention of handing the car keys over to you, because for the last however many years it's been in the main driving seat. So when you build up that trust and rapport with yourself by showing up and doing what you're doing, even when you don't want to do it, quite often ego will find you another way to do something. It'll be like, oh, I'll go to do the dishes, or I'll go ring my friend, or I'll go talk to somebody, or I'll go eat something out of the fridge or drink something, or whatever it is. It's like the ego will try and get you to not do that because it's beneficial to you. Do you get me?
Mm-hmm.
And simply because it wants to go, I'm protecting her, I'm doing this thing, I don't want her to fail, I don't want her to do this. So instead of like self-sabotage is almost like ego's way of going, I'll do the driving. You can sit in the passenger seat and I'll do the driving. But when you're aware of that and you know that you're doing it, it's like, I don't believe I've just created a total distraction, you know? It'll become easier.
Yeah, I can say, yeah, I can sort of see that. Although I don't just go and do the washing up or put the washing on, and yeah, I have done that. But now I think about it, it was just taking me out of where my head was at that moment in time, instead of dealing with where my head was at that moment in time.
And it's hard at the beginning because you have to catch yourself doing it, and there's like a level of self-awareness that you have to kind of cultivate. And it's an absolute pain in the ass, to really put it bluntly. Like at the very, very beginning, it takes a lot of effort. It's very time consuming. It's very emotionally draining, but it doesn't take long until it becomes less that. And then suddenly you're doing it without realizing it. And you'll sit back one day and go, wow, I remember when this was really difficult. And you'll fall off the wagon and forget, and then you'll do it again. And it'll be like, oh my God, I have to do all this all over again. And then suddenly it'll be like, oh, it didn't take so long to get back into my stride. So it's just it's like building up a muscle, really.
That happened with me actually with MailChimp. I had this fear around it. One, because I think it's a stupid name. So the name of it put me off to start with. And then I had this massive block about it. And then I made it more difficult than it was. So I had to force myself to do it. But then I realized after a couple of months or whatever, I was just doing it like that. And I could send a campaign out, and I knew what a campaign was and subscribers and this, that, and the other. It's a bit like driving a car. Like the more you practice it, the easier it gets. And then it becomes sort of second nature, doesn't it? So you're creating these new neural pathways to get a different experience.
But the irony is, I tell my students this every year. I just don't do it.
Yeah. But now you can. Because now you've nowhere to hide.
Just do the homework, practice it. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, the more you remember how to do it. I literally can hear myself saying it to other people.
How far into it are you, Nick, out of curiosity? It's always good to get feedback from a kind of a personal perspective.
I've seen all the videos. The journaling is the one, and I did it because it's the one I least wanted to do.
Fair play, well done.
You know, I kind of made myself do it.
Well done.
But what I did find, certainly I didn't realize how angry I am quite a lot of the time, and that just really got to me by Friday. It was just like, oh my God, I'm like a walking anger ball all the time. Can you,
because anger is usually a channel of energy, so you can actually channel anger into destructive or not destructive. And normally when you don't allow anger out, it combusts. It's like trying to contain if you ever made something hot and put a lid on, the container before you put it into the fridge, it goes pop if you haven't let the steam of it out. Anger can be really, really constructive when you channel it into something like maybe like creative or whatever. But it's not always a bad thing. It's a signpost, it's showing you it's like that volume that I was talking about. Yeah. So anger is another one of those signposts, like a volume button that goes, I want attention, I need something. There's something inside you that is looking to be acknowledged. And as soon as you start to acknowledge it, the volume will go down on it. And you don't have to know what it is. But if you sit with that anger, like when you get really, really frustrated, the last thing you want to go do some self-development. You probably just want to marinate in your own anger. That's so not natural and normal. But if you could find a way of sitting and like feeling into your body and being like, where do I feel that? I don't like it. Why don't I like it? Because I can't put a label on it. Why can't I put a label on it? Well, maybe because it was in childhood that I first experienced this, or maybe it's because it reminds me of somebody, or maybe, and follow the breadcrumbs back and just sit with it and just show your energetic self that you're showing up for it. So you don't have to have the answers, but if you keep showing up with it, your body eventually one day you'll have this thought and you'll go, that's why I'm angry, really. And it'll just come up out of nowhere. But if you keep showing up for yourself when you're angry, to show your body that you're there, to listen to it, eventually it will tell you,
And my coach was saying something yesterday about she's getting us to change the wording from triggering to activated. So what is it activating in me that I need to address? And it's a big difference, that, rather than the triggering thing. I was like, oh my God, I love that today.
Yeah.
So my first question was, when soul searching, so when I was doing soul searching, the answers to all my questions about me involved other people. And there wasn't very much about me in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I later was just sitting in quiet, and oh my God, that is hard. No TV, no social media. Oh, that is hard. Well, I've actually just written down, fell asleep again. Because there's nothing in my head. I think because I've been a single mum for 20 years who's not particularly fulfilled in her job really anymore. There's nothing, I just felt like there was nothing left of me at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, writing down the things that you like, couldn't think of anything. And it was sort of like, right, okay, so what do I want? So my big one was, before I die, I want to see, and it's all about my son. It's all about my son.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really struggled with that aspect of me.
Yeah. Are you Cancer by any chance? What's your star sign?
I'm Cancer with Aquarius rising. I'm a total contradiction in terms.
Yeah. So Cancer is very much all about, Cancer is all about nourishing and nurturing and mothering and smothering and doing all these kind of things. Well, what Cancer has this is more specifically Cancer rising, but it does apply to Cancer sun and moon as well. Cancer can get very preoccupied with caring for other people so that it doesn't have to do it for itself, because that's uncomfortable, because it feels selfish doing it, and it does, and because Cancer's emotions are so deep. Cancer is a water sign. Water is deep by nature. It's also a cardinal sign, so it's very much like, you know, focus on moving forward rather than kind of necessarily journeying in all the time. So looking after others can be a distraction for looking after yourself, so that can be a lot to do with that as well. But in terms of like all of what you're saying is perfect, absolutely perfect. You know, the fact that your focus is on everybody else, isn't that amazing? Because now you can see that the focus hasn't been on yourself, you know. So now you can turn around and start to face yourself. Like I was saying in the videos, like we're always looking out here, and we just forget that it's like having a pair of glasses on your head and looking for them at the same time. It's like, you know that they're around, you can feel them, but you just can't see them because they're on your head. So this is like knowing that you're sitting down and kind of doing this exercise and seeing that everybody else is your focus, and you feel a bit crap for that. It's amazing. Don't feel crap, feel amazing, because now you know that your focus is on everybody else, and now you know you can focus on yourself. You know, and in terms of likes and dislikes, I didn't know for years. I had no idea what my likes and dislikes were, but it took me getting to know myself to figure that out. And now and like there's still sometimes that I'm like, what is it that I like? What is it I don't like? But now I've gotten so much used to doing the things that I like that I'm like, okay, that's what I like. So when I feel crappy and I feel down, I've gotten to the stage where I know myself enough that I'm like, do you know what? I need to have a bath with music and candles and incense and feel lovely. Or no, I don't want to do a bath because I don't want that sensory experience. Now I need to go out and be in nature and walk slowly. Or now I need to be with family. Or now I need to listen to a song that reminds me of my childhood, whatever it is. But also realizing that you don't know what your likes are, that's also amazing. I know it sounds like total, like, you know, isn't that amazing? It really is amazing, because if you know that you don't know your likes, you now know that the reason you don't know them is because you need to know yourself more. So this is about you now. This is your time now. And it's really like Cancer has a bit of a superpower that when Cancer looks after itself and its own needs, that's actually how it looks after everybody's needs, because Cancer wants to look after everybody. But the only way that Cancer can look after everybody is by putting on their own oxygen mask first. And actually your superpower is that your emotions and how you handle your emotions and transmute things like fear and anger and all those intense emotions that go through you, when you learn how to do that for yourself, you'll actually radiate that, and you'll actually lift other people up around you. They'll start to learn from you how to do that. So you're like a tuning fork. So when you raise your own vibration and your own energy, now other people, you're actually affecting people as a side effect instead of all of your energy going towards them, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Unfortunately, yes, but in the wrong way, because I think what I'm radiating at the moment is massively affecting the team I work with, and it's not positive high vibes at the moment. So yeah, I'm literally just sitting there thinking that's what's wrong with them. that is why I think that's what's wrong with them. But it's because I've not been looking. I don't really look after myself. I know I don't. And but I will also use that exact same phrase you've just used to my team. You have to put your own max on first. You have to look after. I'm a hypocrite. I am honestly just a hypocrite.
It's just uncomfortable to do it because it's uncomfortable to do because you haven't done it before. It's not a skill that it's not a skill that's coming naturally to you because you've disowned it a little bit. But when you re-own it, and all you literally have to do to re-own it is be like, okay, now I'm going to do this. That's it. And then every day, every time you see something in yourself that you're like, crap, I could have done that better. Instead of being really hard on yourself, be a bit more gentle and be like, do you know what? I've noticed that. That's amazing. Just the fact that you've noticed it means that you're self-aware. Rather than being hard on yourself, and you're saying even with your teammates, that's why they're suffering. Isn't it amazing you can see that? There's a lot of people can't see that. So the very fact that you're actually self-aware enough to be able to see how that's affecting people is already part of your steps towards turning that around. You've already got your hand on the steering wheel. It's just taking time to turn around, And it's also a really challenging time. We've Uranus squaring Saturn at the moment, and it's really tough. Like the planetary transits at the moment, they're tough. This week specifically, the next few weeks, it's tough, But just if you can relax into it and be more kind to yourself for every time you notice something, notice that you notice it, and then let it go.
I think that's the bit I need to work on. That instead of just fixating on the negative, just the fact that I've seen it.
Yeah.
Is my positive.
Yeah, huge.
That's when you can look at changing it.
Yeah.
So what other? In terms of self-care for you, do you feel guilty when you do stuff for yourself?
No, because I don't do stuff for myself. So I don't know if I feel guilty. I don't. I've got a sense of duty, and I do a lot of things for others that I know I don't want to do, but I do feel I have to do.
Why do you have to do that?
Because I don't want to upset my mum.
Right.
That's Cancer as well. Cancer's parents are normally leave Cancer as being either the baby or the mother, and then they sometimes hop between roles. So it might be that you're a baby with your mum and then a mother to your family, or it could be that you mother your mum and are baby to your family. It can be kind of this, there's like a two-sided, there's like the dark side of the moon with it, Cancer's ruled by the moon. What other questions do you have out of curiosity?
With the first pillar, I just wanted to feel content, and writing things down, I've realised I am angry a lot of the time, but I don't want to accept that as a part of me.
So how can you accept that part? I'm
struggling with.
I would say one of the first things that you can do, because it's very hard sometimes emotionally to attack something straight on, because as I would have said in the first pillar, when you're rejecting that part, when you're trying to fix something, you're actively rejecting that part of yourself. And when you're actively rejecting that part of yourself, it's like button heads, it's just never going to integrate or accept. So there's a few things that you can do. The first is, I've studied a lot of herbal medicine, herbalism. I am not a herbalist. So any advice that I give, I'd always say the usual: read the small print, go to your doctor, make sure it's okay. And if you're on any medication or anything like that. But liver is normally associated with anger. And so milk thistle is a herbal supplement that it's a tincture. Usually better is the tincture. If alcohol is an issue, then just take tablets. But tincture is with alcohol, so it depends on what your own system is like. Judge it for yourself for what works for you, and make sure it's not contraindicated with anything. It's usually not, but milk thistle will help to calm the fire in your liver. And liver is usually associated with anger. So do you wake up around kind of 3 o'clock in the morning a lot, do you think? Or do you anywhere kind of, no, because that can be a sign of it as well. Also, so that can be one way. Things like peppermint oil and that, if you rub them on your feet, can be really helpful as well. Or actually rub peppermint oil over where your liver is. Again, you might want to do with a carrier oil like coconut oil or olive oil or whatever it is. You have the doTERRA there.
I use Zendocrine on my liver to sort of almost detoxify it. And I find, because I actually, it's funny you've mentioned this, because just recently I've been getting a lot of weird sensations around that area. I know it's in my energy, but it is around that area. And now, from having our conversation now, I think it could be linked to anger.
So the other thing you can do as well, as I'm going to be weird and I'm going to put my foot on screen because I've always got bare feet. So in terms of reflexology, let me have to do this backwards in my head. So I'm always treating people's feet, so I'm always at the opposite end. Your right foot, okay? So if that's your foot, your right foot, if you come to the bottom of this space here, this area here is your liver.
Right.
So when you press on it, you can press on it, bring energy to it, release it, and then press on it again and just kind of massage that area like you would with the same pressure as toothpaste. It might be tender if your liver is a bit angry. It might be, you might press on it and there's nothing there at all. It's like totally lifeless, or it might be very full. It depends. But if you keep massaging that, it's really good for anger as well. So without having to tackle the anger being an issue, it might not be that you're angry. It might be that your liver is overtoxed. And as a result, you're angry. Or it could be that you're holding a lot of anger, and so your liver is overtoxed, and so your liver is making you angry. So it can be one of both ways. It may not be specifically you. It can be an energetic thing, you know. So you can have a look at that. And then in terms of anger, allowing it to integrate, you can do tapping, you know. If you want to look up EFT and tapping, and you'll be able to.
Funny.
Well, I'll tell you what, on Tuesday, that will be our topic for the mid-morning meditation and tapping.
To release anger, it's really, really good as well. And what are your other questions? You had loads of questions. I love loads of questions.
Keep going back now. So when I was writing down, certainly when I was angry, and this could be deflection, I don't know. It was frustration of what other people were doing, because I'm highly logical and I don't live in a logical world. And I do find some situations, and it does depend on how tired I am as to how badly I react. But if I don't understand the logic of what I'm being asked to do, I get really frustrated and then really angry.
That can be your Aquarius moon. Aquarius are very logical, kind of detached, logical thinkers. And they get a little bit annoyed when other people can't catch up to them quickly enough to kind of, it's a bit like, come on, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
it's
are
not
you
rocket
stupid?
science. It's
a slight superiority thing, but it's not meant in a bad way. What it is that Aquarius is very forward thinking, very futuristic, very logical, very cool emotionally. They can be kind of cool and detached, because on a one-to-one, they're not as concerned with the one-to-one. They're like, humanity, how do I save the world? Like, do you know how to make a world a better place? And so if you have to deal with other people's like simple emotions, it's a bit like, don't you know there's bigger things going on in the world? than have to be dealing with your emotions. You know, it's a bit like hurry up and like see the bigger picture. So that can be very frustrating to the moon, because the moon's emotional security is being able to kind of get on with the job, very like, you know, as they kind of get on with the bigger picture of things as well. Does that make sense? And the moon, that would nearly always happen, yeah, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you're not feeling well or whatever. That's just like it's just a grumpy moon. But what you can do is have a look at the position of where your moon is placed, which house is placed in, and it'll give you an idea as to how you can make it a little bit happier. So do you know what house it's in?
I used to. My birth chart's actually upstairs.
Yeah, so have a look at which house it's in, and that'll tell you how you can kind of soothe your moon a little bit. So if it's in the first house, it means that you just need to focus on yourself a bit more. If it's in the second house, it can be to do with money, possessions, values, self-worth, anything to do with like the physical body, maybe to do with nature, getting like connecting with your physical body. Third house is all to do with communication, siblings. It might be hanging out with siblings. It could be to do with just communicating with people on the phone. It might be to do with taking a short trip down the road to somewhere local and then coming home. Fourth house is to do with home and roots and kind of maybe even going home for a little bit. Fifth house is, I'm just rattling them off because then you'll be able to look at your chart. So fifth house is fun and games, sex, whatever, you know, all those kind of playful things. Sixth house is work and service to others. So it's like your daily work routines. Maybe you need to give them a little bit more focus so that things feel a bit more structured. Seventh is relationships. Eighth is intimacy, other people's money and finances, to do with personal power. Ninth is go study something like higher wisdom, higher mind, do some sort of study or something religious or something like read a book. 10th is career. You might need to focus on career, do something like that. 11th is all to do with friends and groups, do something in group activity. And then 12th is like retreat, shut down, go pray. So gives you a rough, actually, I think in the, isn't there the workbook, Penelope, and the attachments that I put in? It's in that, yeah.
Okay. I've only briefly looked at the workbook. I got a bit focused on, right, okay, I'll try that. With the second pillar, I'm okay. I am okay in a lot. I think I'm okay with how I feel when I'm at home. I'm not very good at work. My frustrations do come out. I'm not very good at handling myself at work at the moment anyway. Everybody's got an opinion on what I need to do to fix myself, which drives me insane.
How do you mean?
Oh, well, you know, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And it's like, no. This is not logical. This is what I find frustrating. And usually what people are telling me is something that's got nothing to do with what I brought up. And then the frustration starts, then I get angry again. And it just becomes this vicious. So I honestly did not realize how, I thought it was quite chilled out, but I'm not. I'm really quite angry a lot.
So what's the theme of what it is that they're telling you that you need to change? What is it?
It's always me that's wrong. And that I find really quite frustrating.
Okay. So that sounds like this would be more to do with, it's hard to do a lot of this because you need to kind of do this in coaching and get in a little bit deeper and do a lot more personal. But when you're meeting these triggers over and over again, or meeting the same situations over and over again, normally they're trying to tell you something. The difficult part is trying to figure out what the heck it is they're trying to tell you. But again, showing up for yourself over and over and over, just literally showing up for yourself, you'll start to understand. It's a bit like learning a language for the first time. First time you hear the language, haven't got a clue. But the more you're around the language, you'll start to pick up little words, and then suddenly you'll get a sentence, and then suddenly you'll make sense of it. And actually connecting in with yourself and showing up for yourself is the same thing. So there's something that these people are coming into your life to really annoy you for a reason, and that doesn't mean that it feels amazing. It just means that you need to try and figure out, well, what is that? What could it be reminding me of? And it sounds like maybe it could be to do with personal power, maybe to do with owning your own personal power. again, I'd need to kind of do, you know, dive a little bit deeper with you to figure it out. But it sounds more to do with like you're being offered the opportunity to own something or to speak your voice. Like, would you very often speak your voice?
I have no issue with that.
Okay.
I will speak my voice. What it is I don't feel heard. And that's what I've realised. As I walk away with this big list of what it is I need to now do, I'm walking away going, okay, so it's all me, it's nobody else. I just don't feel heard.
Okay.
Is what I've realised.
Why do you think like you're not being heard?
So it's how do I deal with that?
Yeah. How do you feel? Why do you feel that you're not being heard? Like, I know I'm
everything's turned around to be, it's me. And it's not just me. Sorry, my dogs are having a bit of a fight. Stop it. Grand. Stop it. Stop. Thank you. Stop.
You can hear them in the back.
Your dog's not being heard either.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only one of them though. The other one's had enough. Stop. Stop. Oh, you tell you. Sorry about that.
You're grand.
So yeah,
that's interesting. What's very interesting what you're saying. So work, your daily work routine that's in the job that you work in is in your 6th house. Your small animals are in the 6th house. So it's interesting that you're talking about work, and it's interesting that your dogs have just kicked off, because that's all 6th house.
I've just got one that's a pain. That's all. Yeah, it's recurring. It is recurring. And
what does it remind you of?
Pardon?
Does it remind you of anything?
What, these two?
No, does the feeling of what's happening when you're feeling like you're not being heard, like you don't have to say it here obviously, but the feeling of not being heard, does it remind you of anything else? You know,
it's from my childhood.
Yeah.
I know that it's from my older sister was she's not anymore, very, very quiet bookworm. What I would class as devious, because she would do something, I would retaliate, I'd be the one that got caught. No matter what went on, it always ended, because I've never had a problem speaking my truth. I've got a mouth on me, so I would always be the one that got into trouble. And she would just stand or sit behind whoever was shouting, was telling me off, smirking at me, which used to wind me up even more.
So I would say to you, what you could do when you have time, journal, because I know you love journaling. Journal about, go back to some memories of you and your sister as a kid, and go back to some of those memories as to when that used to really challenge you and annoy you. So forget about work and forget about all the stuff at work, because that's just an echo. That's literally just all that's doing is going, hey, there's a big signpost here of something that you haven't addressed from years ago that I'd like you to pay attention to. Now you know what it is. Go back and journal about that and see what emotions come up, and just sit with the emotions. Like, just allow them to come up, and if you want to do some tapping on it, you can as well. But just allow them out, because a lot of the time all that's happening is those emotions just want an outlet. They just want to get out in some way. So that's what I'd say to you, to just journal on some of that. Like, forget work, just journal on some of that. And if you get a lot of meat out of that one, you can journal about that, and then you can do how that reminds you of work, and start to look at the parallels that come up for you, because you'll actually start to like go, oh my God, my sister reminds me of Jim, and Jim's really annoying, and he does this, and I remember my sister used to do that, and my friend Mary in the office used to do what my mum used to do, you know.
It's just less down. I've never even thought about it, actually. It was just when you said just then, what's that going back to? And it's like, yeah, this does go back to years and years and years of always feeling like it was my fault. Yeah.
So if you journal on that,
nothing to do with the work environment I'm in, it's just element of what I grew up with. Will you stop?
Yeah, it's just a signpost. So when you start to journal on that and start to release some of that or understand it with an adult mind, because you probably haven't looked at that properly with an adult mind, you'll find work will get a lot easier because because you don't need the signposts anymore because you've actually addressed the issue. So the signposts don't need to be in your face as much. The signposts can kind of disappear, and you'll find that in work everything will just start to peter out or do whatever, you know, once you start to look at the real issue.
Sorry, just have to bear with me. I'm just going to have to sort him out because he's just going to carry on.
You're all right.
I will be back with you. Yeah. Stop. Come on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And especially to see it all unfolding as well.
It's lovely. Yeah. Like, so when I'm doing the soul navigation, I do the astrology to kind of see where somebody's at. And then I do the coaching. So this is kind of what I would be doing in the coaching.
Right.
It's very similar to what I do in the coaching.
Yeah. And it's good that she knows her birth chart as well.
Yeah, it's a huge help. Yeah. I had a client last week who had no birth time, 71 years of age, had no birth time, and we managed to get it down to the exact minute.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing because she got her whole life story having just gotten her time. Like, it was really cool. But yeah, it's really interesting to see. It definitely helps to kind of know what's going on, because like even at the moment with a lot of the squares and angles that are going on, you know, especially for Nick, she's talking about the sixth, or you know, about work is sixth house. You'll find that in her chart the sixth house is being activated by the transits at the moment.
Right.
Or return or something like that as well.
I'm just trying not to do anything or say anything to anybody at the moment because I know Mercury's in retrograde.
Yeah,
this, and the other, and I just like, it's almost like I'm scared to do anything in case it's misconstrued, or like even when I'm hearing messages, I'm like, well, I'm going to take that as gospel because in a couple of weeks it could change.
And what happens now is going to be revisited in December. Right. So what happens next, we're in the middle of all the eclipses, so it's going to take about 6 months for what's happening now to actually come about.
So I could sorry, go on.
Yeah, but if you're also containing it, it has to come out some way. It's almost like if it's part of your mission and your purpose for something to unfold in some particular way and you try and contain it, it'll find another way to come out in a different way. So you're probably better to surrender and let like some of the steam out instead of trying to contain it completely.
Right. And so does this all come to fruition? Is it by the 19th of December or something?
It's like the next set of eclipses. Yeah. It'll be unfolding between now and then.
Oh God, give us some positive news.
But it is, because Jupiter's doing really positive things. So all the stuff that we're getting at the moment is Jupiter and Pisces. I don't actually focus on transits. This is just my own kind of personal interest and stuff. But between kind of July to December, there'll be changes again, but then it'll flourish and open again. So things are changing. It's getting easier. We're probably through some of the harder parts of what's going on, but we still have a bit of a way to go. It's all about surrender. If you can learn how to surrender, you get through all of these crazy aspects over the next while so much easier.
I found the first 6 months of this year so tough. I've never ever had my mental well-being the way that it was. There was just nothing, and it just kind of froze me. Like I realized I had to let it sort of flow happen rather than me trying to force it. But that was really difficult. It's the complete opposite of what I'm normally like. I'm normally doing.
Yeah. You'll find you're going through maybe a return as well. Like there's a lot of midlife transits that happen, like Uranus and Saturn and Neptune and Pluto all start doing like they're like the further out planets, and they start doing a lot of transits around kind of late 30s to mid 40s. And they're challenging, and they're meant to be challenging, but they're always for the better. It's always hard, but it's always for the better. It's like tough love, and if you've done the work, it's easier, and if you haven't done the work, it's still challenging, but it's all for the better, basically.
Okay, so back to you, Nick.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Might start again in a minute.
So you have more questions, or do you have anything else that you want to?
I think the only thing that really was, but interestingly, just talking about surrender there, I surrendered a little too much, and I settle because I am afraid of risk.
Mm-hmm.
So
that can...
I don't surrender in. I've settled with certain things because I am scared of risk. But I actually did sort of on Sunday night decide I needed to either surrender to the situation I'm in. So it was interesting you with that word, with that terminology there, or take the risk. And yeah, I have kind of opted for surrender because I'm too scared of the risk. But I don't know what I'm scared of. Me and Penny have had this conversation a few times. I can't tell you what I'm scared of. I don't know.
So like when I'm looking at people's charts, the one thing that it can depend on the modes, the elements, or the polarities, excuse me, as to sometimes like I get people and they'll be saying like, why is Mary down the road really like outgoing and like a risk taker and does like really amazing things, and I'm just really quiet and reserved and I don't like taking risks? And it can be to do with where your planets are, it can be to do with where your placements are, it can be to do with your polarities, your elements, whatever. So if there's a lack of fire in your chart, you might be a little bit less inclined. Like fire is all about risk, so you might be less inclined to take risk, but you might have fire in some parts of your chart where you're happy to take risk, and then have fire in other parts of your chart that you're not happy to take risk. So you might have fire in relationships, and you might have fire in, you might be happy to take risks there. You might not have fire in your second house of money. So you might be a little bit more cautious and conservative with money. So rather than being hard on yourself for going, I don't take risks here and here, it's much better to look at it and say, like, how does it feel for me? Like taking a risk and not taking a risk is, sometimes it can be logical to not take a risk. It's what feels right to you. Does it feel like, if you feel that you're avoiding it, then absolutely look at that. But it might be that you're not avoiding it. It might be that you're just being really hard on yourself.
No, I'm avoiding it. I'm definitely avoiding it.
So do you know why you're avoiding it?
No. And that's
Ultimately
one of the things that me and Penny have been sort of like looking at and meditating on, but I do find the meditation bit, I do find that difficult because I haven't had that click that you were talking about in your video.
Yeah, and it can take time for
I
that.
don't have the beautiful clarity of, oh yes, that's what needs to happen. I feel relaxed. I feel calm.
What does it remind you of, Nick? If you're like this, because I can see when you're talking, I can see a lot of emotion, and I can see there's almost like a bold child in behind that face that you're like, I know what the risk is. So it's like it's reminding you of something. So if you were to think back of another time when you wanted to take a risk, and you kind of felt like you couldn't, and you were kind of being a bit like a mischievous child, kind of hiding from the risk, have a think back and see, what does it remind you of? It'll remind you of something, go back through. What I'd say is sit with it, go to the emotion of the event that you're talking about not taking the risk with, and feel all those, like, I know I'm not, I don't know I'm not taking it, but I know I'm avoiding it. Because if you know you're avoiding it, you know why you're not doing it. You just haven't pivoted to turn around and face it yet. And a lot of that is because it's uncomfortable, because you can't turn around, you don't want to own something, which is totally natural and totally normal to do. But if you know that you're avoiding it equals, you know why, or if you know that you're avoiding it equals, you know why you're avoiding it, you just haven't faced that part yet. And just by feeling it, allowing all those emotions to come up, all the giddy emotions, because there's giddy emotions that come with it, feel into that and try and feel into a memory as to when that reminded you. Because there's like a little giddy girl in there, tiny little bit.
I focus on all of the things that can go wrong, but yeah. I will have a think back to. I will have a think back, because you know when you go back home and you see people you've not seen for ages, the person they talk about is not who I am now. So at some point I was that person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know.
And what person would you say that you were? Just out of
Well, you never change is the phrase that comes up, but I was out most nights. I had a ball. I loved life.
Do you know what's interesting? The memory that's come up for you, though. You didn't go to that time you had a little truck, you know, at home by the pond, and you didn't go to any other memory. You went to this time I was at home, my friends and what they think. So see how you don't need to dig really deep to get far back. It's the first memory that comes into your head. Run with that. Journal on that and see what's happening. Because what happens is, we have a tendency that we go, oh, I can't think of anything and I don't really know anything. And then we just stop. And then a memory comes up and it goes, oh, it kind of reminds me of that. And then you throw about 5 other memories and it becomes like chaos in your head. Go with the first memory. So the first memory is, oh, do you know when people are at home and they talk about you like that and you're not the same person? That's part of whatever it is that you're talking about. Now, that may not be it, but it's a breadcrumb that's going to lead you back to something else then. Because when you start journaling about that, you know, the people at home and what they think, and, you know, who you were and who you are now, and how do you feel about that, and how do you know, what is my understanding of their perception? What is my understanding of my perception? How is that different? And does it even matter? And why do I care what other people think about me? And how can I not care what other people think about me? And there's a book called The Courage to be Disliked, which is a really good book. I would recommend highly to read it.
Speed of Light.
The Courage to be Disliked. It's an amazing book. Changed my life. Start with that memory, journal it, and then allow the possibility of there being another memory of when did that remind you of something, and then something else will come up, and then you'll be able to go into that. And all you're doing is just releasing stuff.
Sure. I don't actually have the issue of worrying about what people think about me. I've never been bothered what people think about me.
Do you know, the book is not, I hate the title of the book, because every time I say it to people, it sounds like it's actually not all about that. The book itself has so many nuggets of wisdom that are about life in general that you'll be like, oh my God, I totally never saw that before. And now you can see, it gives you a really beautiful perspective. So ignore the name completely.
Awesome. So guess what this month's book club suggestion is?
Yeah, amazing. It's an absolutely amazing book. It's really annoying to read at the start of it because it's not written the same way as normal books are. It really irritated me when I bought it. I was in Australia in a bookshop, and I just knew I had to get it. I picked it up and I was like, crap, I have to get this book. And I read it and I was like, it's really annoying me. And then I got a couple of more pages in, I couldn't put it down, and it literally changed huge pockets of my life. Massive.
Do you know which book did that to me? The Secret.
Yeah.
I resisted it for ages. Like, I was working for a law firm, and the solicitor that owned the firm, he said, you need to read this book. And I was like, no, I don't. And he bought it me. And I was like, no, I really don't want to read it. And it sat on my shelf for 6 months. Still didn't read it. And then they must have been advertising the film or something. And so I thought, oh, right, I'll listen to the audio book. And I listened to it 3 times, stuff didn't register. And then weirdly on the 3rd or 4th listen, I was like,
yeah,
oh, God,
yeah,
so simple. Why did I never do this before? But I wasn't ready to hear it at the
time. Yeah. I did that with The Power of Now. I so many times I tried to read that book and it just never clicked in, and it annoyed me. I was like, I want to read this book. Why can't I read this book? And years went by, tried it again, couldn't do it. Years went by, tried it again. And I was like, this is really getting the best of me now. And then one day I picked it up, read it from front to back, and I was like, wow. But it just wasn't the right time before that.
I have to admit, that's what I listen to go to sleep at night. His voice just sends me right off.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's inspiring me to want to read it now. So yeah, they were all they were the things that have come up over this time, and it's like, and I do think it's that I just need to go. It's okay actually to feel like this in this moment here and now. But I didn't realize how. I mean, and I know, Penny, you've had conversations, and certainly that the cutting cords was a lot of going back into your past, but wow, I need to sort my childhood out. Do you know, but I honestly thought my childhood was okay, but my teenage years were great. They were. If I could be 24 every year for the rest of my life, it was the best year of my life. So I'm gonna have a think about why that was the best year of my life and what it is that's changed so much since then.
But also maybe some of the things that you enjoyed doing when you were 24, can you bring those back into your life? You know, what was it that you
I don't know.
I'm not saying like going out and stuff like that, but there was obviously other things other than that you must have enjoyed in your life as well. So, you know, did you know what you liked then? Were you more aware of it?
Well, that's when I was very much into my astrology and tarot, which is why I have my birth chart. That's when it's from.
Sounds like you're being called to go back to that a little bit then. So maybe just tap in. That's where your interest in that allows you to inadvertently have an interest in yourself. So it's less selfish to be interested in things like your own astrology for the sake of learning, because you're actually learning about yourself. So it's another way of self-care. If you feel uncomfortable about direct self-care, it's a good way to start, you know. The other thing as well is, like, you know, in terms of, like, you're saying you didn't realize all about your childhood. These are, again, when I'm looking at charts of people, these things that have happened were all meant to happen. Like, I can see stuff in a chart, like blatantly see, I can see what parents were like, I can see what pets were like and kids and the whole lot. They're in there for a reason. And it's not because you've done something wrong. It's not because your parents did anything wrong. It's literally because you've been living your life according to how it's meant to be unfolded. But the important part is then realizing that was just that was always meant to be part of your journey, warts and all. The whole lot of it is meant to be part of your journey. So what do you do with that? Then you look at it and you go, okay, well, how can I use that? I can use that now to grow, because we're here to evolve, we're here to grow. But you can't grow if you don't look at what you're, you know, where you came from. Mm-hmm. Like, if you had the most idyllic, you know, chart on the planet, there's still going to be stuff that's going to be not perfect or not right, because we need to grow. So, like, looking at all that, and actually your growth is how you then help other people to grow. So when you fixed, like, your mess is your message thing, so when you start to fix or address your own stuff and you heal that, you're going to be able to help somebody else do that. You know, you don't have to become a therapist to do it. You just have to be you. And then other people are going to go, wait a minute, why is she so happy? Well, she's so happy because she just worked on a lot of her shit, like, you know. So then they're going to ask you about that and be like, well, how did you do that? Well, I did it by doing this, this, and this, and this, and this is what helped. And it may or may not work for somebody that you meet, but serendipitously, you'll start attracting people into your life that will start to resonate at that level. And you'll constantly be able to kind of raise yourself up and up and up, you know.
So we're back to my big one, Penny, letting it go. Cling on.
Can I ask, just, have you noticed a difference at all in the past few weeks since you've done the cord cutting? Because I have noticed a difference this time with Mercury retrograde. Last time I had about 10 ex-boyfriends all come out the woodwork, one like that. It was hilarious. This time, one, and it's the only one I haven't cut the cords with.
All right. Well, I don't have that because my cords are not connected to people who are living. So
okay, but so have they been? So how did they present themselves to you previously? Was it just in like thoughts or dreams or things like that? And is that still happening, or would you say it's lessened?
Well, I've had a recurring vivid dream over the last 2 weeks. which I used to do this when I was younger as well.
I love the way you smile when you think about
Yeah,
things.
but I love dream meanings. I do it for everybody who I work with. They'll come in and go, right, I had a dream about, and I do the whole dream thing for them. My car being stolen, which is so, and in your dreams, when your car's being stolen, you've either lost your personality or you've lost your direction. And doing this course with the soul searching, I realized I've lost both.
Interesting.
So, and it's just, I just want to focus on one area of it, but it doesn't work like that, does it? You can't just fix, I'll just work on where my personality has gone.
This is why I was saying the 3 pillars, like, and they really do, one does help the other, because literally the more you show up for yourself, the more you uncover. The more you uncover, the more you reconnect with yourself. The more you reconnect with yourself, the more you can interpret the world. And what, like, those messages that are being blatantly shown like this, it's like, couldn't be any closer. But like, because we don't know how to see them or interpret them, we can't do anything about it. So when you start to like show up for yourself and reconnect in, they start like this whole thing of I was really angry here. Yeah, but I was really self-aware of how angry I was. Mm-hmm. Now I can make a choice about letting it go or keeping it going. And you have that choice. That's your power. That's your superpower. You've all that choice. Doesn't mean it's going to be an easy decision to do. But if you keep doing it, like if you did that once a day, let one thing go a day, that's huge, you know? And then, and then when you start to do that once a day, where you get to the stage where you're like, oh, you'll start to automatically do it, you know, 5 times a day. And then you'll start to do 10 times a day. And then you'll be like, Jesus. And then suddenly you won't need to do 10 times because you've dropped half of it. Because what happens is when you become so aware of these things all the time, you don't need to become aware of them anymore. Because the reason that they're in front of you is to make you become aware. So if you become aware, you don't need these things on the outside telling you to wake up and become aware. So they start to drop away and you have less to focus on. Now you get to focus on something completely different. Now you get to focus on people at work are annoying you. You're now going to go back into your journaling and figure out what it reminds you of. You're going to bring all that up. You're going to feel it all. You're going to sit with it all. You're going to be okay with not labeling the emotions, but feeling crap or feeling giddy or feeling whatever it is. And then suddenly the more you do that, work isn't the problem anymore. Now the volume is turned down. You don't need those signposts. So what else is the universe going to give you? Now what happens is it starts to go from outside, disappearing. Oh shit, it's just me. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I have to work on myself. And it's like dial goes up. And then you start to show up for yourself more and dial goes down. So it's like you're slowly moving away from being focused externally to cutting all that noise out bit by bit by bit to eventually meeting yourself, which is scary because it's uncomfortable. Not scary because you're going to realize any deep, dark secrets. Quite often what comes up is such garbage, but it's really important to you, you know. But then you start to literally be able to turn around and face yourself. And that's when you come home. It's all about coming home to yourself. And when you can come home to yourself, you can handle anything. And the whole point is that you're never going to get rid of all the junk that happens. Like life is going to happen. Your chart is going to keep unfolding. You're going to keep, like, I'm about to do a series of videos. I was saying to Penelope, I look like I have a black eye. I have loads of allergies came up because of stuff that was happening for me recently. And I've had to face it all. And I remember I was like, it's like, oh my God, I need my spiritual toolkit. How am I going to do this? And I'm always using my own system. And it's because I'm using it, I'm just surrendering into it. And it's shifting and moving. And it's like I feel more myself. So the point of what I'm saying is when the clutter outside goes and when you start to focus on you and when you start to feel that center of coming home, eventually you'll get this feeling of like, this is like I'm at home here. And then now you'll know that this is where you need to always come back to. So when you don't feel like you're from here and you're operating out here, you keep coming back in. You keep coming back in. And it will happen. I promise you. I really thought I was just default factory settings. That's it. Cart me off to the scrap heap. I just can't do this whole thing. If I can do it, honestly, anybody can do it. I promise you, anybody can do it.
oh, I'm here because I want to do it. So for me, that's quite a big step.
Yeah.
And I've tackled me big journaling just by carrying the book around with me.
Yeah.
And I will carry on. I did give up for a couple of days. It's like there is nothing of me. I can't think of a single solitary thing. But you see, now I can go away and go, all right, yeah, why do I always keep, and I always say it, if I could be 24 again, a year in, year out, I'd have a ball. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing, where I was at 24. What was it that was so great about that year? And what have I not got anymore? But it is when I, for a good few years before that to that, I was very much into my astrology and my crystals, and life got in the way and everything got boxed away. And
so maybe you're just being called, literally you're just being called back, not back in time, because we can't go back in time, but it's almost like you're being given a big neon sign that's pointing this way going, come back here,
Yeah, certainly have a look at it.
Cool. I'd be excited to hear how it goes.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you both for being here. It's been literally illuminating tonight. I've had a great time just sitting and listening. So yeah, thank you for being here.
I'm loving these private sessions. It's great.
and
you got us all to yourself. It was good going. Yeah.
Thanks so much for providing the content as well. Literally, it's just been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm delighted. It's great to hear feedback from it as well, and it's good to know whether it's working or not working. Like, I want to, there's no point in me putting out content and it not working. I definitely want to know if it's if it's doing something. So
one of the things I liked about it is because each video is short, you don't need to find masses of time to listen, go back and re-listen. And each time I have gone back and re-listened, it's like, oh, I didn't hear that bit last time. But I obviously did hear that bit last time, but I've not registered that part of whichever video I've got to. So I've not done the falling off the wagon. I've not listened to the falling off the wagon one. I think I know why I've not listened to it, because I didn't want to hear that I could fall off the wagon.
Look at the awareness though, Nick. Look at the awareness of it. Like, this is like, it's beautiful. You're totally aware of it. Like, you're right. What's interesting is you're not aware that you're aware of it.
No, until somebody points it out.
Yeah, but you're very aware. Like, you're very aware of a lot of the stuff that you're doing. So you just need to pull the other curtain back. You've got one curtain back, just pull the other one back, and
crack on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did like the size of them, because sometimes it's difficult to find a lot of time in day. And that,
believe me, that was a struggle
to go back.
I said to Penelope, my videos are normally, when I do podcasts and when I do videos, they're normally 45 minutes, an hour long. They can be half an hour long, it depends. But so that was a struggle to get them to be only short and concise. But
and I'm going to be honest, if they were an hour long, I probably would have got through one.
Yeah, it's only certain. Yeah, look, it's going to be different people watch short videos and different people watch long videos. So it's just.
I think for me, knowing what a busy life I have and listening to the other people in my groups and everything, like one of my coaches the other day, I put it on and then I looked at the time and it was 3 hours 38 minutes, and I thought, there's no way I have that time.
But, it's funny, like, because I wouldn't, but they're the videos, all the videos that I watch, that I myself research and watch, that could be an hour, 2 hours long. It's just different format for different people, but it was helpful. Penelope was the one who was, you were saying to me about try and make them short, and I was like, oh my God, can I do this? I'm a very long-winded person. But it was
people.
Yeah, but it was helpful for me as well. So it's nice because I can hit two different kinds of audience then. Do you know, that kind of way I can reach more people.
Awesome.
Well, in about 3 weeks' time, I can do the hour-long ones. Just not at the minute. It is that fitting it all around that full-time job and everything else.
Yeah.
But the more I've listened that I hear something different each time. However you see that, but so it's not like I've listened to one when I've gone back and gone, oh, right, what was that again? And I've gone back and it's like, oh, I didn't hear that last time. And it's just, I've just got notes and notes and notes. So your 10-minute video has created A4 sheets of notes just in what I need to do.
That's amazing.
Because each time I go back and listen, it's been like, I don't remember that bit. Right, okay, I need to go to that.
And the part that you're hearing at the time is the part that you need to hear.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah.
Because I've listened to it all and I know I have, but what my brain has took in at the time.
Yeah, it's what's important for you at the time. Yeah.
I call that holographic learning. So you sort of you learn the bits that you need at that time.
It's like having an Oracle card video. It's like you dip in and take like, oh, that was that one and that was that one, and it's different. It's like a different reading every time. You get different bits of information every time.
So I enjoyed them.
Good. I'm really glad.
I've got to do the bonus videos yet. And I need to go and find my birth chart and where I put it and go and have a reread.
Awesome. Cool. But I love that, like, literally I can see your face is lit up. You're obviously really passionate about this. So
yeah, but you forget, don't you? Because you forget what it was that that was your what. Well, I obviously have.
Do you know what though? I honest to God, you can see it though, Nick. Like there's like this. I keep seeing this little girl, like this little, a very carefree girl that wants to keep coming through, and I can totally see it in you. And like there's certain times that you're saying something, it literally, can you see what I'm talking about, Penelope? It's like this little girliness comes, there it is again, literally now. It's like this a soft girliness that wants to come out, because you've got a very hard part. And the hard part is the part that I think that you're not so much in love with at the moment. You're trying to soften it, but there's another little girly part and you can totally see it wanting to come out, and it's there already. It's a bit like having the awareness and then the awareness of the awareness. It's like the little girl is there, and then you just need to be aware that the little girl is there. Do you know?
You should watch this video back, because it's really interesting to see, like when Deborah was asking you a question, you'd go like this, or like oh, that felt a bit naughty kind of thing. It's really funny, and it is your inner child coming through.
And even now, you're so much, you can see the softness. Do look at this back, because you'll see, look at this back and look at the end, and then skip all the way to the beginning, and you're going to see in your face there's a total different softness in your face to even at the beginning. It's very interesting to see, which is lovely, because it's there. It's literally, glasses are on your head and you're looking for your pair of glasses. So it's already there for you.
Yeah, because at the beginning, Nick was saying, I'm so angry and I'm angry all the time. And I've just realized that by doing this journaling, how angry I am. But now you're like
soft. Yeah. It's lovely. You've got it. You're already there. You just need to keep going with it. Just keep going with it. Whatever you're doing it right.
Thank you.
Definitely. And what I would say as well is, because we've known each other about a year now, haven't we? And you are a totally different version of you to the version I met 12 months ago as well.
Yeah. And everybody has commented on that as well. Beautiful. Even though I don't see the difference.
Do you know, like that's the thing, how it's like we're with ourselves every single day, so it's very hard to see anything change. It's when other people start to notice it that we know something is working. And that's what I was saying, like Cancer, your superpower is that when you change yourself, you affect everybody else emotionally around you. So like really what your thing is, like mastery of your emotions. You're a water sign, and water sign is about emotions and feelings. And then it's a cardinal sign, so it's like mastery of your emotions. And when you do that, everybody, it's like you've got this like sonic wave, and it'll just affect everybody else around you without you having to do anything. And that's how you feed them. That's how you nurture the people around you.
I like that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you, ladies. I'll just say a quick hello to Louisa, who's just joined us. How are you, Louisa?
Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. I was sorry that I couldn't call you earlier. I was in a Zoom call with a couple of friends that I meet with once a fortnight who I haven't seen for about 10 years. So we always have a good old catch up. How's the session going tonight?
Oh, you've missed it all. Honestly, it's been brilliant.
Oh. Nice to see you again, Nicola.
And you, I've seen you for ages.
I know, yeah, I know. How you doing?
How's your wedding plans?
Yeah, they're going. We went ring shopping on Saturday, so that was really nice. So that was really exciting. Just waiting to hear what Boris is going to say about what's allowed at the end of July, because I think at the moment we can go ahead with weddings of more than 30 people, but socially distanced. And he's going to announce on the 29th of July, which is 2 days before the wedding, whether it needs to be socially distanced or not.
No, it's the 19th.
19th of July.
19th of July.
Oh, okay. Okay. So not 2 days before. Well, that's good because the wedding's the 31st. So
yeah,
he
got the date wrong apparently.
Say again?
You got the date wrong apparently. It's the 19th.
Oh, well, that's good to know. There you go. Bonus for coming in here tonight anyway, already. Oh.
Right.
Although I'm totally unprepared. I don't have any coaching questions, I'm afraid.
Have you done the course, Louisa, or are you doing the course, or how far into it are you, out of curiosity?
I haven't started it, but I have signed up for it. So yes, I would love to do the course. Is this chat available on replay at all?
It is. So I've recorded it to the cloud, and then I will drop the recording into the portal rather than in the group.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in June's masterclass, there'll be a button at the bottom that says live coaching call.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Yeah.
So if you have any questions on it, just let me know. I think my email and that is actually, my email is showing up here anyway, so you can just email that if you want.
Yeah, I think one of the sorry, I'm just gonna sit down. I think one of the issues that I have is that I don't really know what to focus on at the moment, because it kind of feels like life's a bit full pelt right now with wedding planning and waiting to find out what's going to happen and juggling working from home and all of those things. And I think before this pandemic struck, I had all these ideas of things that I wanted to change about my life in terms of professional life and levels of confidence and things like that. But as the pandemic's gone on and I've got more busy, I'm sort of struggling to identify what goals I want to focus on now.
I would say, even though I haven't been talking to you for very long, and Nick, you might be able to give your own experience, because Nick has she's pretty much done the course, like you've watched all the videos. I would say if you're not sure what to focus on, the first thing you can focus on is surrendering. That sounds very easy. But it'll help you to just then figure out what you want out of it, you know, rather than like aggressively going at it, going like, right, I need to try and figure out what I want to do. Like literally just like go in with no expectations, watch the videos, don't and then you'll find out what it is you want to focus on as you go along.
Yeah.
Nick, you've done it, so I don't know whether you feel the same.
Yeah, I as you know, I'm not big on the journaling, and it's because I leave it. I've always left it till the end of the day, and I can't remember what's going on in the day. But I've got a book that I've been taking when I go into work, because I'm doing the same as you. I've got to go in, but I'm trying to work at home as well, and so I carry the book around, and I've just been writing in it as something's in my head. And that when I read it back, I can see it's telling me what to focus on. Because one of the things we were talking about is I sat here, because when the videos he's going to talk about clearing your mind, switching everything off and remembering what you enjoy, and I couldn't remember anything, and eventually I woke up. So at some point I fell asleep, and it just really got me down. So I started writing things through the day instead of waiting till the end of the day and making it a big job. And my emotions came out at me left, right, and centre. And then you'll see if you can watch this coaching course, this coaching call. I've now got things to go back and look at. Oh, right. Okay. Yes, that was a time of my life I liked. What was I doing? So that's what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we've already established what one of them was, which is astrology.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I was into, really. But when you watch the videos, because Deborah talks about birth charts, and I was like, oh, I have my birth chart. And it sort of, yeah, I didn't think I missed it, but obviously I do. Because apparently I smile when it's mentioned.
Yeah,
You're
it's very
looking
interesting for you to look at it back. You'll actually see yourself. You'll see. You'll see. It'll be very. I think it'll be obvious to you some of the stuff.
You do seem very happy and chilled and relaxed, actually, Nicola Jane.
Isn't that odd? Because I've the last few days I've just been so stressed out. But yeah, I had the same thing. It was like, you know, I've been a mum, I go to work. I don't know what I enjoy doing, but I just thought, right, well, just take the book with you and write as you're going along, because otherwise I was never going to do it.
Yeah.
And little bits come up, and then as we've done this call and thinking about things and just pointing in questions, it's like, okay, I need to go and look at that. I need to go and look at that again and that again. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. I've found that the things that I used to really love to do to relax are somehow not really appealing to me at the moment. And I think it's because my brain's too crowded. I think it's because I'm too busy with work and family and wedding planning and stress and trying to navigate this COVID thing, and what the restrictions are going to be. Because I have noticed lately that when I think about what I'm going to do to have some downtime, I used to love sitting and, you know, there used to be loads of programs that I'd like to catch up on TV, and or I'd like to pick up a magazine and browse through that. That used to be a real thing that I loved to do, and I actually can't be bothered to do those things at the moment.
Right, well, what I've learned is that's distraction.
Distraction.
Am I right? I might have got that all wrong now.
Yeah,
But
no, yeah.
That kind of thing is distracting you from actually thinking about what really brings you pleasure and joy. But I might have just got that all wrong.
No, you're spot on. Yeah. It's the first video. You'll actually see when you watch the first video, I explain. It's not that it's a bad thing to do whatsoever at all. But you'll be able to see part of the first video shows you. It gets you to kind of step away from all that at the moment, just while you're doing the first part of the course, and it's more like a self-discovery kind of thing. But you'll see when you get into it.
Is there anything on with the planets though? Because I've really struggled as well. So for the past maybe 4 to 6 weeks, I haven't been able to meditate. And I started feeling much brighter this week. And part of my university course was I had to do these meditations on creativity and inspiration. It's half an hour long, which normally wouldn't have bothered me. Yesterday, I just felt nothing at the beginning. And then I started seeing stuff. I couldn't finish it. I got agitated. So today when I did it, I lay down to do it. Oh my God, it just annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah. So Mercury retrograde has been going on for the past couple of weeks, and even before it starts, there's a lead up to it, and even when it finishes, there's a lead out of it. But it's also like Mercury retrograde has been in its own sign of Gemini, which is, it's normally quite happy there, but that's also where the eclipses have been. So there's a lot of, so the eclipses are really big energy. Mercury retrograde is usually very intensified, where we have to go, like Mercury retrograde is about going back over stuff, not about doing new stuff. So it's not about like learning new things or having new communication or sending new emails and new newsletters or whatever. It's actually about like, I can't do this, I need to go back over it again. And then you also have the Saturn Uranus square at the moment, which is just kicked off again, which is quite challenging by itself. So like this week is a bit of a push-pull. So Saturn is all about like manifesting and the old. It's about structures. It's about like things that are chronic and very time consuming, and it's like very slow moving. And then you've got Uranus, which is like change, roller coaster, things want to be different. And then you've got this kind of push-pull thing going on. So this week is going to be like, I want to go slow, but I need to go fast. I want to go fast, but I need to go slow. It's like this push-pull. The energy is very, very intense. So that's why I'm saying at the moment, surrender. And what I mean by that is, like, rather than throwing buzzwords out, because it's really annoying when people go, surrender, be be a guru and surrender, is just try to not fight it. So when you feel like you're pushing against something, rather than being like, why am I pushing against this and I'm not getting anywhere, sometimes when you stop pushing, things happen quicker. You know, it's, what is it they say, the less hurry the more speed. Like sometimes it's like when we're not moving forward, it's literally like the universe's way of going, she's just not getting it, she's just keep pushing forward, like, and the universe is like, chill out a bit. And then when you chill out, suddenly everything goes pop 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 pop. Like I unplugged from social media only recently. I've unplugged from social media, I've unplugged my website, and I'm unplugging everything online. I'm doing everything privately as a bit of an experiment for the next couple of months. And as soon as I did that, I had people looking for astrology charts, I had people looking for astrology readings, I had Reiki customers, I literally did nothing, and people started, and it was almost like the universe's way of going, chill out. And as soon as I did, it went, now, here's what you wanted, you know?
Oh, that's nice. Interesting.
Yeah.
Switching that off is what I find hard.
I think we all do. Yeah. Right, ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight. And I've just loved every minute of it. So
yeah, it's been great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Will we have a next one of these, Penelope?
Sorry. Let me just check my diary.
Sorry to put you on the spot there.
It's the last week, the 29th.
Okay, cool.
At 8 o'clock. So if anybody comes back and they've done a bit more work and they've got more questions,
yeah,
because it's helpful for you as well, isn't it, to understand what questions people have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great. Love questions.
Oh, thanks so much, everybody.
Lovely to see you all.
And I'm sorry I couldn't join in earlier. It sounds like I've missed a really great session.
It was amazing.
Hopefully.
Lovely to see you.
See you. Bye.
See you on catch up. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.